The galaxy is shaken by an unanticipated event. A colossal warship, the Wasteland-Class, emerges from the depths of uncharted space. Its size alone is enough to awe and terrify even the most seasoned military strategists. The ship's sleek, obsidian hull reflects no light, its surface a maze of alien architecture. Its emergence from the void is as silent as it is menacing. To the galaxy's collective horror, no one knows its purpose or its origin, until its destructive power reveals itself. The first few days are filled with anxious whispers, but as the warship moves into the orbit of the outer rim system, the powers of the galaxy begin to take notice. Its presence does not go unnoticed by the Galactic Confederation, a powerful union of planetary systems, and the Union of Free Worlds, a coalition of newly established democracies and trade republics. These two factions, long at odds, are united by one common fear. The Wasteland-Class Warship is not just any vessel, it is something far worse. There are rumors, vague and often conflicting, about the ship's origins. Some believe it is an ancient weapon of a long-forgotten Terran empire, a race of humans who once ruled with ruthless dominance. Others suggest that it is the result of a new, terrifying experiment in human military technology, an engine of death forged with a singular goal: total planetary annihilation. A special task force, made up of elite diplomats, military officers, and engineers, is dispatched to investigate the warship. These experts, all experienced in navigating the complexities of galactic politics and military threats, are sent aboard smaller reconnaissance ships to approach the Wasteland-Class. However, as they attempt to get closer, strange phenomena begin to unfold. Communication with the task force is lost. Their ships vanish without a trace, swallowed by the shadow of the Wasteland-Class, which seems to absorb any effort to approach it. The warship's first act of violence comes shortly after, the disappearance of the task force. The nearby planet of Athenar, an uninhabited mining world, is obliterated. A beam of concentrated energy, brilliant in its intensity, descends from the warship. The planet, once teeming with valuable resources, is transformed into a lifeless wasteland in a matter of hours. Not a single structure or molecule survives the blast. A wave of panic and disbelief spreads throughout the galaxy. Political leaders and military commanders struggle to comprehend the scale of the destruction. The Confederation issues a public declaration, warning that the Wasteland-Class is an existential threat. In a closed-door meeting, top officials discuss their options: send a fleet to destroy the warship, negotiate for its surrender, or find some way to understand its intentions. But no one knows how to proceed. The warship is far too powerful, and its creators, humanity, are seen as unpredictable, their motives unclear. In a desperate bid for answers, a group of historians and archaeologists are assembled to study the warship's design. Their search through ancient archives uncovers the truth. The Wasteland-Class warship is not a new weapon, but an artifact of a time long buried, an old Terran weapon designed to ensure humanity's dominion over the galaxy. The weapon's return could signal the rise of a new era for humanity, one built on dominance and control. But the galaxy's response is equally certain. The Wasteland-Class cannot be allowed to roam free, or every planet in its path will be reduced to ashes. As the galaxy trembles in fear of the Wasteland-Class warship, a team of elite historians, scientists, and engineers is assembled to uncover its origins. The task is monumental. If they are to stop the warship, they must first understand it. The galaxy's leaders, desperate for answers, know they must go back in time to understand the weapon's creation. To find the truth, they turn to the ancient archives that have long been sealed away, buried under centuries of galactic turmoil and forgotten history. Through a combination of cryptic data logs, ancient texts, and long-lost blueprints retrieved from humanity's early expansion period, the team begins to piece together a dark and troubling history. The Wasteland-Class warship was conceived during the height of the Terran Imperium, a once mighty human empire that sought to dominate the stars. The Terran Imperium was known for its technological superiority and aggressive militarism, a regime that crushed any resistance with overwhelming force. The Wasteland-Class was designed as the ultimate weapon, a ship capable of erasing entire worlds from existence, ensuring humanity's total control over any star system they wished to conquer. The Terran Imperium's ambition knew no bounds. They viewed the galaxy as a vast playground, where the strongest would rise and the weak would be subjugated or obliterated. The Wasteland-Class Warship was developed as a response to growing resistance from alien species and rebellious colonies. Humanity's leaders sought a weapon that would leave no room for rebellion, a vessel so powerful that it could lay waste to an entire world in a matter of hours. Its construction was a closely guarded secret, and even within humanity's ranks, few knew of its true capabilities. The Wasteland-Class was not just a weapon of mass destruction. It was a symbol of the Terran Imperium's fear and ruthlessness. Designed with a cutting-edge energy weapon capable of disintegrating entire planets, it also had an advanced AI system that allowed it to function autonomously, making decisions based on the battlefield's ever-changing conditions. No fleet, no defense, and no alliance could withstand it. The warship's primary function was simple: destroy everything in its path. However, as humanity expanded, the darker implications of such power became clear. The Terran Imperium fell into internal strife, torn apart by corruption, civil war, and increasingly paranoid leaders who feared their own creations. The Wasteland-Class Warship, along with other superweapons, was abandoned when the Imperium collapsed, its creators vanishing into the annals of history. The warship was thought to be lost, buried under the rubble of a dying empire. The historians uncover a chilling truth: humanity never truly abandoned the Wasteland-Class. In the aftermath of the Imperium's fall, the weapon was hidden away, its location a closely guarded secret. But the Terran ideals never truly died. A secret faction, known only as the Keepers, maintained the warship, waiting for the day when humanity would rise again and reclaim its rightful place at the top of the galaxy. As the team pieces together the horrifying history, they uncover a more disturbing reality. The Wasteland-Class Warship has been reactivated not by the Keepers, but by a new generation of humans. These humans have embraced the ideals of the old Terran Imperium, dominion over the galaxy, and the eradication of any who would oppose them. The warship's return is not an isolated incident. It is the herald of a new age of human expansion, one marked by destruction and totalitarian rule. The revelations are staggering. Humanity, once the underdog, is no longer simply looking to coexist in the galaxy. They are planning to dominate it. The Wasteland-Class Warship is only the beginning. The galaxy's fate now hinges on whether its inhabitants can find a way to stop a weapon that was never meant to be used again, or if they will bow to the terrible power of humanity's most lethal creation. The terrifying realization dawns. The Wasteland-Class Warship is not just an ancient artifact. It is the harbinger of humanity's dark return. As the Wasteland-Class Warship's destructive potential becomes undeniable, the galaxy's leading factions are thrust into a state of crisis. The once unified front between the Galactic Confederation and the Union of Free Worlds begins to crack, not out of mutual trust, but out of a shared, overwhelming fear. The discovery that humanity has reawakened the Wasteland-Class Warship shakes the foundations of interstellar politics. Its emergence marks the dawn of a new era, one where humanity no longer seeks peaceful coexistence but rather dominance over the galaxy. In this volatile climate, the galaxy's response is fractured and chaotic. A series of emergency summits are convened, with representatives from the Galactic Confederation, the Union of Free Worlds, and independent systems scrambling to form a coordinated response. The Confederation, a powerful alliance of established and militarized planets, is already preparing its fleets for a military engagement. Their strategy is simple: eliminate the threat before it becomes an uncontrollable force. The Union of Free Worlds, a federation of more progressive systems, advocates for diplomacy, hoping that a peaceful resolution can be negotiated with the new human leadership aboard the warship. But the Union's diplomatic efforts seem feeble in the face of such overwhelming force. The warship's first confirmed act of violence against an inhabited planet amplifies the urgency. After a few harrowing days of uncertainty, the warship demonstrates its devastating power by completely obliterating the defenseless planet of Athenar. a peaceful world on the edge of Confederation space. The destruction is swift and brutal, with no warning. The Wasteland-Class Warship sends a concentrated beam of energy from its core weapon, reducing Athenar to a dead, lifeless rock in mere hours. Millions of innocent lives are extinguished, and the debris of the planet becomes nothing more than cosmic dust. The act sends a shockwave through the galaxy, proving that there is no space left for negotiation. The Confederation and the Union respond by ramping up military action, but their efforts are divided. Some advocate for all-out war, while others seek to sabotage the warship from within. The galaxy's other powers, including smaller but resource-rich factions, fear the ramifications of humanity's unchecked aggression. As various alliances and coalitions are formed in secret, a cold war of espionage and sabotage begins, with spies infiltrating human-controlled systems to gather intelligence or sabotage the warship's operations. In the midst of this turmoil, one key player emerges: Captain Vera Damaris, the enigmatic leader of the Wasteland-Class Warship. While she commands the ship with cold precision, she is also a symbol of humanity's resolve. Damaris is not a typical military leader. Her motivations are deeply personal. Once a cadet in the now-defunct Terran Imperium, Damaris believes that humanity has been wronged by the galaxy, forgotten and abandoned by their so-called allies. To her, the reawakening of the Wasteland class is not just a military maneuver, but a righteous vengeance. Damaris and her crew view themselves as the true heirs of the Imperium, and they are determined to remind the galaxy that humanity's thirst for power and survival will never be denied again. The political landscape shifts as Damaris broadcasts a chilling message across the galaxy. She offers an ultimatum: submit to humanity's will or face annihilation. There is no middle ground, no negotiation. The message is clear: humanity has risen, and it will not be ignored. As factions scramble to respond, the galaxy's once powerful alliances now seem fragile, divided by old grudges and competing interests. In the closing moments of this part, the stage is set for a violent escalation. The galaxy's leaders, now fully aware of the danger the Wasteland-Class Warship poses, must decide: unite against humanity's aggression or risk total destruction. The tension is palpable as time runs out and humanity's true intentions become more apparent. The fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance, and the Wasteland-Class Warship is at the center of it all. With the Wasteland-Class Warship now fully operational and under the command of Captain Vera Damaris, humanity begins to make its move across the galaxy. The galaxy's factions, those that had once been allies and political rivals, now face the grim reality that their power structures are no longer sufficient to contain humanity's rise. In a series of lightning-fast, brutal strikes, humanity reveals that they are not interested in negotiation or diplomacy. The Wasteland-Class Warship is a force of nature, and its creators intend to use it to reshape the galaxy on their own terms. The first of these strikes targets a prosperous planet in the Union of Free Worlds, a hub of commerce and trade known as Solara. With no warning, the Wasteland-Class Warship arrives in orbit, its black hull looming over the planet like a shadow of doom. Captain Damaris gives the order, and the warship's primary weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of vaporizing entire continents, fires a concentrated beam of destructive force. In seconds, Solara's once bustling cities and thriving infrastructure are turned to dust. The planet's surface is scorched, leaving nothing but a barren, uninhabitable wasteland. The destruction is not just a message, it is a display of power that sends ripples of fear throughout the galaxy. Humanity, once seen as the underdog, has proven that it possesses the might to destroy entire worlds without mercy. The Confederation and Union, now fully aware that diplomacy has failed, prepare for war. But there is a new dynamic in play. Humanity is no longer just a faction in the galactic landscape. With the Wasteland-Class Warship as their instrument of destruction, humans have become a superpower, a force that cannot be ignored. As the galaxy's factions mobilize their fleets in a desperate attempt to confront this threat, they quickly realize that their current military strategies are ineffective. Every time they try to mount a counteroffensive, the warship retaliates with overwhelming force, decimating entire fleets in the blink of an eye. To complicate matters, humanity's aggression is not just a series of random strikes. Captain Damaris, whose vision is shaped by the painful legacy of humanity's previous fall from grace, views these attacks as necessary steps in reclaiming the power humanity lost long ago. She sees herself and her crew as the harbingers of a new era, a time when humanity will rise above the galactic powers that once shunned them. Damaris believes that humanity's survival hinges on their ability to dominate, not coexist. For her, the Wasteland-Class Warship is more than just a weapon. It is the embodiment of humanity's destiny. The destructive path of the Wasteland class becomes a rallying point for some factions within humanity. In the shadows, a radical movement grows, a faction that believes in the superiority of humanity, one that sees the galaxy's other species as obstacles to be eliminated. These extremists see the Wasteland class as a symbol of the strength that humanity must use to secure its place at the top of the galactic hierarchy. The Wasteland-Class Warship's destructive campaign begins to shift from targeted military strikes to a systematic erasure of planets deemed unworthy or irrelevant. Once peaceful worlds populated by innocent civilians are caught in the crossfire as humanity's reach grows ever more expansive. On the other side, resistance begins to form. The first signs of rebellion are subtle, with various factions secretly banding together to oppose the Wasteland class. A coalition of former allies disgruntled by humanity's unchecked aggression begins to strategize how they can neutralize the warship. But this rebellion is far from unified. While some want to destroy the Wasteland class, others want to understand it and seek a way to negotiate with the humans who control it. The faction's internal strife mirrors the larger galactic conflict, as no one knows the best course of action. For some, fighting back is a matter of survival, while for others it is about reclaiming peace at any cost. As the story progresses, the galaxy teeters on the edge of all-out war. The once dominant powers of the Confederation and Union of Free Worlds are reeling from the brutality of humanity's strike. The Wasteland-class warship's rampage is only just beginning, and its full impact on the galaxy is yet to be seen. The stage is set for an escalating conflict, where every faction must decide whether to bend the knee to humanity's power or risk total annihilation in an effort to stop them. The galaxy is on the brink of collapse. Humanity, empowered by the seemingly unstoppable Wasteland-class warship, has begun to carve a path of destruction through the galactic factions. Entire worlds have been reduced to smoldering ruins, and the military might of the Confederation and Union of Free Worlds has proven ineffective against the devastating power of the warship. The galaxy, once a beacon of hope and progress, now lies fractured and trembling beneath the shadow of humanity's wrath. Yet as humanity's victory appears imminent, the tides begin to shift. It starts with small acts of resistance. A coalition of rebel forces made up of former Confederation military officers, Union diplomats, and other independent systems begins to coalesce into a unified front. They have no illusions about the power of the Wasteland class, but they know that the galaxy cannot survive if humanity is allowed to continue its campaign of annihilation unchecked. These rebels, though outgunned and outmanned, believe that their only hope lies in finding a way to neutralize the Wasteland class and its commander, Captain Vera Damaris. In the heart of this growing resistance is a man named Ilian Reese, a former military strategist and tactician of the Galactic Confederation. Reese, once known for his brilliant mind and innovative strategies, has become a symbol of hope for the galaxy's oppressed. He is determined to find a way to turn the tide of the war, and he begins by analyzing the warship's weaknesses. He and his team of engineers, intelligence officers, and defectors scour the remaining archives of the Terran Imperium for any information that could help them. The answers, however, are few and far between. The Wasteland-class warship is a marvel of technology, designed to be nearly indestructible, with advanced AI and weaponry that can obliterate anything in its path. Reese and his team soon realize that there is a way to disrupt the warship's power. The ship's AI, though formidable, is not invulnerable. It was designed with a central core that coordinates its systems, and if that core could be infiltrated and disabled, the warship, could be neutralized, but doing so would be no easy task. The warship is heavily guarded, and its defensive systems are so advanced that even the slightest mistake could lead to certain death. Meanwhile, Captain Damaris remains resolute in her mission. She sees the growing resistance as nothing more than a fleeting inconvenience. To her, humanity's rise is inevitable. Those who stand in their way will be crushed underfoot. Yet, as the destruction mounts and her forces grow weary from constant battle, Damaris begins to notice cracks in her own resolve. Her crew, once united under the banner of humanity's ascension, begins to question the endless cycle of annihilation. Damaris's unyielding belief in humanity's right to rule is slowly starting to fray. She too begins to question whether this path of conquest is truly the only way forward, or if humanity's violent resurgence is beginning to alienate the very galaxy it seeks to dominate. Back in the rebel camp, Reese's plan is set into motion. A covert mission is launched to infiltrate one of humanity's key military installations, an ancient Terran stronghold that holds the key to gaining access to the Wasteland-Class Warship's core system. The mission is risky and fraught with danger, but it is the galaxy's last hope. Reese leads a team of skilled operatives on a high-stakes operation to infiltrate the fortress, steal vital intel, and make their way to the heart of the warship's control systems. As the story unfolds, tensions escalate. The rebel forces grow bolder in their efforts, and small victories begin to accumulate. Though the Wasteland class remains a terrifying force, the Resistance's efforts are slowly taking a toll on humanity's war machine. The balance of power begins to shift, if only slightly, as the galaxy starts to rally around the idea that humanity's unchecked aggression must be stopped at all costs. In the final moments of Part 5, the Resistance makes a major breakthrough. Reese and his team, having infiltrated the Terran stronghold and gathered crucial intel, are on the verge of launching an assault that could deal a critical blow to the Wasteland class. However, they are running out of time. The galaxy is on the precipice of destruction, and the fate of countless civilizations now rests on the success or failure of their final desperate mission. The turning tide is in motion, but it remains to be seen whether the rebellion can rise to the challenge and bring an end to humanity's reign of terror. The galaxy is in its final moments of reckoning. The Wasteland-Class Warship has decimated countless worlds, leaving civilizations on the brink of extinction. Humanity, under Captain Vera Damaris, is poised to claim total dominion over the galaxy. But the Resistance, fueled by the hope of a united galaxy and led by the brilliant strategist, Elian Reese, has one final chance to stop the unstoppable. In the aftermath of their successful infiltration of the Terran stronghold, Reese and his team now hold the critical intelligence needed to penetrate the Wasteland-Class Warship's core systems. The mission that once seemed impossible is now within reach, but the risks are monumental. Reese knows that a direct assault on the warship will be their last chance to strike a fatal blow. The rebellion is small, and their forces are stretched thin, but desperation breeds determination. They rally their most skilled operatives, those who have fought through countless battles and now find themselves standing at the precipice of either liberation or total destruction. As the final assault is prepared, the galaxy's factions, what remains of the Confederation, the union of free worlds and various independent systems, unite for the first time in centuries. The looming threat of total annihilation has forged new alliances, and the fleets assemble for a massive confrontation against the Wasteland class. The stakes could not be higher. If they fail, humanity will reign supreme, and the galaxy will be reshaped by fire and blood. If they succeed, they will avert total extinction and bring humanity to the negotiating table. The final battle begins in the shadow of the Wasteland class, which remains an insurmountable force, its weaponry poised to obliterate entire fleets in seconds. The Resistance forces make their move, slipping through the chaos of the galactic conflict to board the warship itself. Reese and his team, along with a small group of specially trained operatives, infiltrate the vessel's hull. The journey to Weir. The ship's core is treacherous, filled with perilous obstacles and constant threats from the ship's AI-controlled defense systems. They must navigate through the warship's labyrinthine corridors, dodging automated drones and engaging intense standoffs with human soldiers loyal to Captain Damaris. Meanwhile, Captain Damaris remains aboard the bridge of the warship, cold and resolute. She watches the galaxy's last stand unfold on the tactical screens, the fleets of the Resistance closing in. Despite the mounting pressure, Damaris's conviction remains unshaken. She believes that humanity's destiny is to dominate the galaxy, and she will stop at nothing to ensure that the Wasteland-Class Warship completes its mission of destruction. However, as the conflict escalates, cracks begin to form in her own psyche. The weight of the deaths, the destruction, and the constant pressure of leadership begins to take its toll. For the first time, she questions whether humanity's future truly lies in annihilation or if there is another way. As Reese and his team make their way toward the warship's central core, they face a critical decision: how to disable the AI without triggering the warship's failsafe mechanisms, which could destroy the entire ship and everyone aboard. With the clock ticking, they initiate a risky gambit, using the information they retrieved from the Terran archives to hack into the warship's system and inject a virus designed to shut down its central command. In a final heart-pounding sequence, Reese confronts Captain Damaris face to face. The two are polar opposites: Reese, a man desperate to save the galaxy and restore balance, and Damaris, a woman driven by the belief that humanity's power should never be questioned. Their confrontation is not just a battle of wills. It is a clash of ideologies, the last remnants of an ancient conflict that now threatens to engulf the entire galaxy. As the virus begins to take effect, the Wasteland-Class Warship's AI starts to falter, its systems destabilizing. In a final act of defiance, Damaris attempts to override the virus, but the combined efforts of the Resistance force, working together in unison, overpower the warship's defenses. The AI's core collapses, rendering the Wasteland-Class Warship vulnerable for the first time. In the final moments of the battle, the warship begins to break apart, its systems crashing down around it. Captain Damaris, realizing the futility of her mission, faces the ultimate choice: continue her futile battle to impose humanity's will or accept the consequences of her actions. In a rare moment of introspection, she surrenders, allowing the warship to be deactivated. The final confrontation ends not with total annihilation, but with a fragile victory for the galaxy's survival. The Wasteland-Class Warship is neutralized, its threat vanquished. The galaxy, though scarred and fractured, begins to rebuild. The Resistance forces, along with the reformed factions, lay the groundwork for a new era of cooperation and peace. But the legacy of the warship will never fade, a reminder of the fragile line between survival and destruction. The galaxy, now forever changed, stands at a crossroads, and only time will tell whether humanity can find a path forward that does not lead to more bloodshed.